Hey, it's Globe from Verbal Tea. Thanks so much for coming to another tea party for us. We've got some hot tea for you all today as we're discussing financial independence. But before we get all serious into that, can I just talk to you guys for a second? All right. So, I thought I made a friend this one spring. She was a fellow Black mother, and our toddlers were around the same age. I met her at a fair where our toddlers were still learning how to walk. And so they're waddling around, and their similar waddles is what led us to talking in line and becoming friends and exchanging contact information. As promised, we followed up with each other days after the fair. We talked some more about our careers. We both work from home. And then she told me she's actually pursuing early retirement. That is incredibly exciting, and I was so excited for her. She told me she was part of some networking community and that she has a mentor that is helping her and guiding her to getting there in a few years. She asked me if I was interested in meeting this mentor and that she would hook me up. I'll be honest, you guys, I wasn't really interested. But I'm trying to make a new friend here, and I do have some people pleasing issues that I'm still working through. So I said yes. That's just on brand for me. Said yes, and the mentor called me and gave me this whole spiel about the networking community, and it just seemed like it would be a lot of work for me and that I would have to tell other people about it, and it didn't check out. It was too much of a commitment. I'm a mother and I'm an aunt, like a real aunt who is really close to my nephews and niece. So it wasn't in the cards for me. I graciously, thank them for the information and declined to pursue that further. End of that. However, when I went back to my friend, she was understandably disappointed, but she seemed obsessed with getting me to be part of the community. She would only contact me with meetups for that. There were no play dates, there were no other friend brunches or anything discussed. It was just trying to get me to be a part of this community. So, needless to say, that friendship fizzled out. I once joined a book club and I was so excited to be part of a book club. That's like always been a dream. That also turned into a boss babe brunch where you get to network with people for the half of the time. And as I'm getting older, I am starting to see that everything that you think is just about recreation and leisure, it's about making money. Everything's about grinding. And that is why I've decided that I really wanted to cover financial independence. A lot of people have definitions of financial independence that honestly they didn't establish themselves. Everyone wants to live in luxury, and understandably so. Everybody wants their money to make money for them. But the pursuit of that often is delayed gratification and requires you to make sacrifices that I don't think people really assess if those are worthy sacrifices to them. They may be, they may not, but that inspired me to write about what is financial independence to me. What choices am I making that align with that definition? And what are the strongest influences on how I define success? I would love if you all would tune into this episode to take a look into what me and a self starter discovered while writing those entries. If this inspires you to write your own entries and you want them to be shared on the podcast, please email us at verbalteaparty@gmail.com and I will certainly highlight your voice. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thanks for joining us at another tea party. Last week, we discussed finance and our relationship with money as far as our memories and what has helped shaped it. way back from our childhood. Today, we are taking it to another level and discussing financial independence. And I have an amazing guest to bring on with us to discuss this. And she actually is an entrepreneur who does premium draping. Yes, luxury, complete luxury. And we are really excited to bring her on and discuss financial independence as well as art. I would like to introduce you to Precious Stevens.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for coming on. How are you feeling today?
I feel amazing. Thank you for having me.
Of course, welcome to the tea party. So, before we get started, I just want you to be able to highlight yourself. Can you tell us a little bit more about your draping business?
Yes, so I'm Precious Stevens of the Posh Academy, who everyone calls the draping queen. And what I do is help designers in the events industry level up, right? Really attract higher paying clients through the art of premium draping. And I absolutely love it. And I also love the look on people's faces when I'm talking about it because it's like, that's a thing. Yes,
Mhm.
it's an absolute real thing.
Yeah, I just had a wedding previously this July, and I could have really used someone who knew how to do that. It is definitely, I think of it as a luxury because you have a decorator, but decorators don't really typically know how to do that. They typically will hire someone else if that is something that's part of your vision.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of and I think that's why I'm so passionate about it because a lot of designers, it's something that requires skill when it's done to that magnitude, and
Mhm,
they can't really provide it in such a premium way. So they do end up, like outsourcing and hiring the draping teams to do it. But a lot of them are now finding that, hey, I can learn this skill and, we could provide this ourselves. So it's providing them another stream of income and a
mhm.
real lucrative stream of income.
Oh, absolutely. And then it's a nice little add-on instead of them having to outsource. They can go to you, learn how to do it, and they can say, if you want this service, I can add this on for this fee.
Absolutely.
So that is amazing. Just leveling up truly. How did you get into it?
I got into it honestly, how most designers get into it. You get into this industry not really knowing what you want to do. So you do
Mhm,
all the things. I got into it thinking I wanted to be a planner, not realizing a planner had nothing to do with design. So once I figured out that I like the design aspect and I hate the planning aspect, I
mhm,
stuck with design, but then I also found out that I didn't want to do all the things. It was just too much work. So I fell in love with draping. I fell in love with how it looked. I fell in love with the different textures of fabric and a different color, and not to mention, how profitable it was. And I didn't have to do as much work if I was doing full scale design. So that's how
mhm.
I got into it. I got into it, loved it, and I carved out that niche and I just ran with it.
That's awesome. I took a look at your website and your social media, and I was just enamored. It's a real art. I'm sure your arm muscles are also pretty strong.
Yeah, well, mine not because I don't
Mhm.
really provide draping as a service any longer. But
Okay.
yeah, it pays to be fit in this
Yeah.
area.
My arms definitely burn just looking at them because they're so the drapes are so beautiful and they can be so heavy. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, they
that's
can. Yeah.
and like I said, with my wedding, I was on the bus. um,
Yeah.
but you have an academy where more teach people and empower them with these skills now.
Absolutely. Yep. We founded the Posh Academy about 2017. And that's really because I was looking to grow in the
Mhm,
events draping industry and I couldn't. There were no resources really, unless you made these big investments. And for
mhm,
a newbie, it was a lot of money, or, you think that's a lot of money in the beginning. So I wanted to create an avenue and some kind of platform that would help people that was struggling with the stuff I was struggling with, right? There was
mhm,
no YouTube university at that time that really
mhm.
supported draping. You really couldn't learn a lot. So I wanted to change that.
Wow. Well, you're a pioneer. I haven't heard of anyone doing that. It's kind of been gate kept. So that is amazing that you offer that. And I'm so glad that you decided to come here and share that with us. And
Yeah.
you also volunteered to be part of our tea party and discuss financial independence. Before we get deep into that, I just want to have our audience know, what is your relationship with journaling?
My relationship with journaling now, being totally honest, is it's like a newfound respect. At first,
Mm-hmm.
people tell you, you got to write it down, you got to get your thoughts out your head, and I'm like blah 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 blah. But then when you realize the power that it actually have when you get your thoughts out your, I mean, if you can see my wall, not only do I journal, I gotta record things because it makes it real.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I journal it, when I write it, it just now I put it out into the universe. So now I am trusting the universe to work its magic to really support whatever it is I'm writing about. Not to mention, sometimes you journal just to be in the moment and bring awareness to what it is that you're feeling. Because me, sometimes I don't be knowing what I'm feeling. I'm just being honest. But
Yeah.
writing is like you are able to gain clarity, and journaling is really what helped me write my first book. And I didn't think it was something I would ever be able to do, but do journaling and even storytelling, period. People
Mm-hmm.
like, you got a story, you got to write it, you got to write it. And I'm like, okay. But when you reading the journal excerpts, it's like, this was good. Like I went this, like, and look at me now. So it's a really powerful tool to have and to really implement on your journey.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It definitely helps you organize your thoughts as well.
Yes.
You will think that you're incapable of writing a long project like a book, and then you're like, look at this, I could
Look
do
at this.
this.
Right. Look at this.
Awesome. Well, that is amazing. I'm glad that you have a healthy relationship with it and that you have shared with our audience the benefits of it, because that is a huge purpose of this podcast, is to tell people the benefits of it, because not enough of us journal anymore.
With everything is now we're in this microwave state, right?
Mm.
Everyone wants things instant, and I get it, but things are so much more valuable, and it just have layers of depth and meaning and dimension when you kind of take the slow route, right? Instead of
Mhm.
throwing it in the microwave, simmer something on the pot, and it's a different savory feeling to it. And sometimes going back to the old ways of doing things kind of just bring about a new joy.
Oh, I love that. The old way of doing things brings out a new joy.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I think of journaling, I think of how people call social media digital journaling at this point. But it's just not as intimate. We talk about
It's not.
how social media has tampered and ruined intimacy in relationships, as far as friendships and romantic relationships, but also you could argue that it impacts the one you have with yourself. How much time do we actually spend alone with our thoughts, our feelings, or anything now?
That's true, but I kind of have a different perspective because I am not that social media.
Mhm.
That is not me, and I'm very aware of how much it can really affect your day to day, your impact, your mood, all those things. So
Mhm.
you also can use social media for a positive tool. And the one positive thing I can say it helps me, it does have that digital footprint because it brings up those memories.
Mm,
And
true.
since I am so in tune and with my own being, it
Mhm.
allows me to sit in the moment and kind of just reflect. When you're a busy entrepreneur, you could just be go 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 go, and sometimes you don't even sit back and acknowledge your accomplishments. One thing I
Mhm.
can say of this is what the social media, how it helps me realize how much traction I've gained when those memories pop up, and I've seen that I've done a tour last year, and I can reflect in maybe things that didn't go well, but now we're about to go on tour again. It helps you celebrate the moment, right? So
Mhm.
that's how I utilize it. But I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you can go down that hamster wheel. But then if you're able to really pay attention to it and how
Mhm.
I am, I could shut it off.
Well, that's good. So you have a healthy balance with it.
Now I do. I'm not saying I always did.
I can say that for me, I've always flip flopped because I kind of grew up with it. So I always comes a moment where I just feel like a complete outsider online, and I'm like, let me just unplug. That
Yeah,
just means I need to not even be around for a little bit.
absolutely. Yeah. I get those often. But again, it takes discipline.
Hmm.
And like if I'm in my family time, I don't care what I have going on. When I shut my phone down, that's it. I'm
Yep.
not picking it back up until I'm ready to get back acclimated to work world. So it's like different. You got to have discipline and be able to create that balance in the sense of this is what needs my attention right now. And that is what a lot of us are lacking.
Yep. But hey, writing it down, writing your plan out can just really help you establish those boundaries and hold you to them.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. Well, what of all the questions, I know I sent you a handful of questions about financial independence.
Uh-huh.
What question did you spend the most time with or stuck out to you the
Honestly,
most?
and they all kind of got the equal amount of time because they were very direct and they were all kind of relative to one another.
Hmm.
So it was like it really didn't require a lot of time. They were great questions, but it just came natural, so it really
Hmm.
wasn't nothing. They all were good.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of expected that, and that is why I wanted um, a a self starter on the show for this particular episode,
Yeah.
because when, to do that, to do what you do have to already have those convictions. So I really wanted whoever came on to have a strong voice about it. So I'm glad that they were just like second nature for you, easy
Yeah, they
peasy
were.
to
They
write out.
absolutely were. Yeah.
So my first question is, what does financial independence mean to you?
Really, it's just one word. Financial independence to me means freedom.
Hmm.
That's it. It's freedom. It's something I haven't felt in 38 years of my life. I
Hmm.
haven't gotten to that place where I can decide I could do what I want to do. I could go where I want to go. I have this newfound freedom. And that is only way that can happen is if the financial component is there to support me living life how I want to live in a free space. So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
It's just a tool in exchange for how I want to live my life.
I like it. So, and our last episode, we just discussed what success meant to us and what money meant to us. And that is what we said. It's kind of a means to an end to
Yes.
live life on our terms. And so financial independence is just the tool to do the same thing. I love that
Yes.
motif following. But yes, and that's kind of how I view it too. I know if you Google it, it talks about living a life doing what you want without having to earn income.
Yes.
And me personally, I feel that's a little caging. I mean, that's a dream, that is a dream, but I do feel that it's a little caging, just because not everyone is going to be a self starter. Some people are going to want to help contribute to other people's dreams. Um, and for me, I do see it as a means to an end. I have a certain standard for the life I want to live. And being financially independent means um, finance is not getting in the way of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And even those that want some people, you're right. The limelight is not their thing, but
Mhm.
they find so much gratification out of being that behind the scenes person, right? You do have
Mhm.
some people that love being in that space, and that is their zone of genius. That's like what they are designed to do because no creative or no one in their own right, for one, got there by themselves. It took
Mhm.
somebody in the background pushing you, cheering you on, giving you some kind of something. So those people are just as important on the journey.
Right, exactly. And I wanted to just take a moment to highlight that, because I have so much respect and admiration for self starters, but I do know that they can't do it without the people behind them. And
Absolutely not.
I feel in this grind culture, I just think this conversation is really important because some people may feel that everybody needs to be their own boss, and being a boss can look different.
It can look different for a lot of people. And unfortunately, some people do get in this grind or this hustle and whatever it is to find out they're really not cut out for it. It does take
Mhm.
a special person, skill set, knack to really be able to not only get in it, but also stay in it throughout the long haul, because it
Mhm.
ain't all rosy and peaches all the time. But if you don't have the clarity on one, why you even doing it in the first place, you're going to be prone to give up or throw in a towel. But also knowing and realizing throughout this journey, you need some strong hitters on your team in order for
Mhm.
you to get to that next level and continue to get to the next level. So it's like everybody really playing a part, and a valuable part, but collectively being that solid team. And
Mhm.
everybody's part is just as important.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I really do like that you said if you are going to be in the spotlight and, grind, you have to have a purpose. You have to
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
why you're doing it. And instead of just chasing someone else's definition of what it means to be great or successful, because if you are chasing something that you did define yourself, that's when you see a lot of people get drained and incredibly discouraged.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you for that. That was a good answer right there. Um, what choices do you make towards a financially independent life?
The choices I make for financial independence, one is definitely investing. So a lot of one thing I want, especially if there's any creatives or entrepreneurs on that's listening, I love that you have this thing that you love and you're passionate about it and it's making you money. But at the end of the day, you got to start looking at things to be able to position you out of the thing and still be
Mhm,
able to sustain and have the income needed to maintain your lifestyle. So for me, I know what I do or what I was doing. I don't want to do it forever. So
mhm,
if I'm in a thing and I make a certain amount of money, okay, now it's time to turn that money into employees. So you get
mhm,
into investing, right? You get into passive income, you get into diversification, because I don't want my lifestyle dependent upon me working, like me physically working.
mhm,
So there are the different avenues that allow me to take a year off of work or vacation when I want to, or wake up not stressed or bothered if someone don't buy from my product suite today. Um,
mhm.
so they're the things that I put in place: the investing, diversification, passive income. I like making money in my sleep. And when you get into that component, it's like my hands are for, I say, instructing and writing checks. That's it. That's it. So that's the thing that kind of makes it, grow. You want to be able to grow your money. You want it to be able to
Mhm.
work for you. And that is what I've learned in a short amount of time. And that's like the things I'm going to continuously do.
Hey, so you're saying that a big step for you is investing,
Oh
seeing
yeah.
kind of making a garden of your money so that it
Yeah.
can grow and you cannot worry about it for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, still, things happen,
Of
but
course.
is a less likelihood, right? You're not worried about, oh, I gotta go make 10 sales today. It's not that kind
Mhm.
of ideation going on in your head. So it allows you to sleep at night, because your business, businesses go like this, boom, up and down, up and down. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm in my mid 40s and I'm a Gemini, and I can't handle all that turbulence. I ain't gonna
Yes.
be able to do it.
Yes, definitely. Air sign things. I'm an Aquarius. I need it to be stable.
Stable. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And my next question for you is what does success mean to you?
To me, success means I've done something great. For me, I am an impactor, right? So for me
Mhm.
to achieve anything successful, it mean I have something to pass on. It mean I have a proven framework. It mean I have a blueprint. I have something. I have achieved something that can possibly help someone else. So if I hit things that are successful, I'm like, wow, it worked for me. I go on and I teach it. I'll turn it into something so that it could work for other people. Now, it may not work for everyone, but I have the proven framework that it does work. So that's my opportunity to bless other people.
Okay, so you're an impactor. That's funny because my definition was about impact. It doesn't always look like a number or a trophy or certificate, but it's about the impact.
Yeah.
If I do something, what was the end result that I had in mind? Did I achieve that? Or is there anything that myself or someone else can take from the work that I put in?
That's the main thing right there.
Mhm.
You have to, sometimes or I know I did, you're in the thing and it's frustrating, and you got to realize when you're in pioneer phase or you're in innovation phase and you want these answers, and realistically the answers aren't there. You just got to continuously go through the mud. But when I look back and I look at the accomplishments, I feel great and I feel honored because I know it was for a reason. I know
Mhm.
I had to go through that. I had to endure that, but now it was to make this bigger impact into the world. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll take it.
Right, that's a success. It's a win.
It's a
Y
win. It's a
Mhm.
win. So we always judge, with success, I like to measure. I got to measure. If I can't measure it, I don't want
Mhm.
no parts of it. I got to be able to measure it to determine if it's successful. And I measure everything. If I'm going to start a garden, the KPI or the key performance indicator
Mhm.
is in 3 months, instead of me buying veggies, I'm going to be out there picking. I'm going to be
Mhm.
picking my veggies. So that is how I determine if something is deemed successful or not. I just measured everything by a KPI.
I love that. You're a numbers person. You
I'm a
have
numbers person.
there has to be some Virgo in your chart somewhere or Capricorn.
Oh, they are number people?
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes,
wow.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm a
Um,
numbers
they're
person.
they're precise, and it's a good thing to have,
Yeah.
especially when you are a self-starter and a pioneer. That's definitely a good trait to have.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, well, since you do teach people, um, what do you tell them about success and about how this can impact them financially? How do you help them have a healthy mindset with the new skill that they are learning?
So it's kind of we kind of do things full circle. So it's with our draping program is beyond draping. Like yesterday, we did a pricing masterclass, and a lot of people think it's just a pricing infrastructure, and it's not. It got a lot to
Mhm.
do with mindset. So no matter what I'm teaching, I'm always throwing mindset in there to some degree, because realistically, no matter what I teach you, no matter what tools I give you, if mentally you're not at a place where you can adapt or implement or dealing with all those limiting beliefs, then you still are going to stay stuck. So my biggest thing, I've learned to instill my coaching strategies into my programs because you still need it.
Mhm.
Everything starts with mindset. If you don't think you're good enough, you can't convince me that you're good enough. So that's pretty much where it stems from. We cover mindset, we cover financial, we cover ways to grow. It's so many different pillars that we cover. That way we kind of look at things holistically, like how can we serve this individual as a whole, because it's not one
Mhm.
component you need to make this thing work. It's several different pillars that you have to work on, right? Or you have to master. It's about mastery. And
Mhm.
again, that does not happen overnight. I am still practicing today who I want to be tomorrow. I'm
Mhm.
still in practice. So I really want them to get out of their head, oh, once they take a class, once they do this one thing, it's over. I made it. No, 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 no. You just started the process. So once people understand that and are able to adapt that this is a journey, we're on a journey, right? We're
Mhm.
going from dating to all the way till we married.
Mhm.
So we on a journey. I'm on my journey with my students, with my tribe, with my members, and I'm just here in full support of them throughout wherever they are. I kind of meet them where they are. There is no one thing, and I like, okay, you have to meet this standard. It's like we so versatile here. We
Mhm.
can meet you no matter where you are. You could have just heard the word draping and want to get in it, or you can have been in it for 20 years and want to enhance. We can serve anybody.
Okay, I love that. I love that you said it's just a multi-level thing, or it encompasses more than one factor. It's not just
Absolutely.
the skill or just the money or clients. You have to have the mindset. And if you don't have the mindset, then everything else, even if you get it automatically, this is at least what like every entrepreneur tells me. If you don't have the right mindset, even if you somehow had a lot of traction at the beginning, it's going to be stagnant if
Yep.
you don't have that mindset to keep that momentum.
That is very true. Very true.
So you said that you have highs and lows, you know, as an owner. During those low moments,
Mhm.
how do you keep yourself level-headed and balanced and motivated?
Um Realistically, I'm a creative and I'm a Gemini. So I don't look at low moments as low moments. I look
Mhm.
at them as opportunity to redefine.
Mm.
So if you're having a season, that is an amazing opportunity to sit back and reflect and then go full throttle into the next thing. Maybe it's a time to pivot. I've had that a couple of times,
Mhm.
but you got to be aware. Again, it's about your level of awareness. You got to be aware of what's going on. Sometimes it's necessary to pivot. Sometimes it's necessary to add something, delete something, change something. But when you're in business and it's a steady incline, that's how it was for me because it was very new. Everybody was jumping on. My head was so wrapped around, I didn't know what I was doing. But when when I have those dips or those moments, that for me is a perfect time to reposition my packaging, reposition my offers, get better connected with my tribe members. So that's how I look at it. But one thing, I have the ability to look at it that way because I have other streams of income. My
Mhm.
income is not solely relying on my draping business. So that's why I said earlier, financial success means to me diversification because they all aren't going to be low at the same time. If it is, Lord Jesus, I don't know. But that hasn't been my story. So if something's happening, that's a good time for me to just reflect and see if some things I want to change or shake up.
Just staying active. You just
Yeah,
you don't
definitely.
you don't sit down, you don't sulk, you have to stay. Keep your mind active, keep yourself motivated, and have that, it sounds cliche, but that can-do spirit, so that you don't get consumed. And
But realistically, for people that's especially service-based businesses, if I'm ever going through something like that, I go back to my tribe because they
yeah.
always are going to tell me what they want. They always are going to tell me what they need. And it's up to
Mhm.
me as the creative to create it. So realistically, you go back to the start, you have a whole pool of ideas that just get back
Mm.
in get back in the workhouse and work. Then before you know it, you back going steady uphill. But a lot of people don't take that, they don't take those moments and look at it that way. They do exactly what you said. They sulk and they get on social media and then they'll run without even thinking to another idea, without even
Mm.
thinking this one fully through. So that's the worst thing you could do. I've been tempted to do it. I'm not gonna lie. I have opened up some other businesses just out of frustration,
Mhm.
but this one pulls at my heartstrings because I make the biggest impact here. So when you're walking in your life's purpose, this is attached to my assignment. Some may look at it as just draping, but it's way bigger than that. This is attached to my assignment. So that's why I always find myself going full throttle back with the Posh Academy.
I love that. I love that you say that it's attached to your assignment.
It
I
is.
do. I feel people who have that conviction about, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Not just what I want to do. This is what I was called to do. Um, they operate completely differently, and they have this different glow on them. Just it's a different glow.
Yeah.
How did you know? What convicted you?
I knew they told me. Honestly, they told me. The way I would be in class and these ladies will be crying, like
Mhm.
real freaking tears. And then before you know it, I'm crying. And I'm like, but I thought we was talking about drapes. But you just know it. It's something you feel in your spirit and it's something you feel in your heart. And even when I would share my story and I would tell people how sometimes I wanted to change and go in a different direction, they would come to me and say how much I am needed, not only in draping, but just to be a part of their life, their journey, and what they were
Mhm.
able to overcome and how they so excited for life again. A lot of my audience members are more mature women. So
Mhm.
I know I have an assignment because they are looking for, this is their second half of life. They're
Mhm.
looking to live it on their terms, how they want, running their own businesses and being able to achieve success while doing so. If that isn't the story that you want to be attached to, I don't know what is. Like, I want to be a part of that. So it
Mhm.
kind of just gives me this fire to just, I don't know. I may have a bad day, but somebody will slide in my DMs and say, Precious, I'm thankful for you today. And then before you know it, I'm like, okay, let's suit up. It's time to put the cape back on. It just works. It just does it for me. It does it for me.
I I really love that. And you stayed present. and those connections with people, and that's how it really made that real to you. So
Yeah.
that's why no matter what other ventures you maybe went on to do on the side, this still called you back.
It did. It really did. And it's funny because even if I'm having or feeling some way, I could just go live to my community. And it's funny because my fiance will watch, like he'll just be in amazement. And he helped me understand what I get. Cause at first I didn't know. I just knew I got something. I just knew I felt great. And
Mhm,
he called it the exchange. He say it's an exchange, even though I'm pouring out because I pour out a lot.
mhm.
I'm receiving a lot when the connections that I have with my ladies is like I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to build up to. So I'm just like, oh, just getting all the inspiration because really that's what I want to do. I want to have an impact. And I have
Yes.
that with any circle I'm around. I've been a nomad all of my life. And so I know that's what I'm supposed to do is something that helps connect. I just
Yeah.
connect is connection for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that you call it the exchange because you pour so much out, but then they pour right back into
They
you.
really do. They do.
I am so happy that you have found that and taken the time to. I know that it's probably required um, sacrifice and reminders
Yeah.
and dedication, but
Yeah.
you really do seem to be there. Now, when you decided to go into the draping business, did you map out who your target audience would be, or
No.
nope?
I mean, in the beginning, my target audience was whoever needed drapes. That's
Mhm,
what I was thinking. But I once I started getting real intimate with my audience,
mhm,
it changed everything really about my business because I learned to really craft my messaging. I learned to really craft my aesthetics. I learned to craft everything around my ideal client. My ideal client name is Karen. My ideal client is 49 years old. My ideal client is preparing for retirement. So now that I am real intimate, I know who she is. She's an actual person. Not
mhm,
only am I crafting stuff for Kim, but it's going to be thousands of the Kims out there that's perfect for what I have. As
mhm,
opposed to me just saying, "Hey guys, I drape. Come, you got a party," and then I'm running against all this riffraff. So
mhm.
it really does make a difference. And a lot of people are uncomfortable niching, thinking they're going to miss money. But I'm trying to tell you, when they say it's riches in the niches, it is
Mhm.
riches in the niches.
That's what I believe too. As a new podcaster, I know who I want to reach. I hope I reach everyone I'm meant to, but I know who I want to reach.
That's the part.
And so far, even the people who was shared interest on being on the show have been in alignment with that. And so I'm going to keep going with that because those are the people I want to reach. Even your audience are the type of people that I want to connect with and have their voices amplified on here. And
That is awesome.
instead of, oh, it's just everybody and let's talk about pop culture. Let's talk
Yeah,
um there's a place for that. I just know my calling is for something um a little more intimate,
yeah.
a little more sisterhood focused.
I love it. I love
So
it.
I just want to thank you in live time for sharing how you have got that affirmation consistently by having your niche because I'm pursuing one as well. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
I think that everyone needs to know that it's okay to not be for everyone.
Yeah, it definitely is. I've had the greatest portion of my success once I niche down.
Mhm.
I love the feeling of going the inch wide or the inch deep rather than the mile wide. I like
Mhm.
working with least amount of people, but still making more money because now I can provide more value as opposed to working with a lot of people and I'm pulling myself thin like I used to do before. It's not a good feeling.
Right. I bet, and especially as someone who is impact focused, it's just like, oh, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Right, right.
You need that hierarchy of payback,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that. I love how we're discussing financial independence and then just like the last show, we are discussing kind of currency all around, but that's
Yeah.
really what it is. Once you are financially independent, that just means defining things on your terms,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to discover all of these other facets of life that are important to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
Um, so, what would you say beyond money, of course, and impact? That's probably going to be it. I guess I answered my own question. I was just going to ask you, what would you define as another currency in your life?
Peace.
Oh,
That's the
yes.
greatest one of all. Peace, baby. Woo, child. That's top tier right there.
Top 10, yeah.
Peace. Just waking up in peace.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't put a price tag on that. That is like the most
Mm-mm.
valuable thing. That's right up there with freedom.
Yeah. And I think I would argue that they're connected.
Yeah.
Um, you can't have peace without freedom,
Absolutely.
or freedom without peace.
Absolutely. So definitely peace. Like living in a world of chaos, one would think that there is not even a such thing. And I'm just glad that not only have I lived it and experienced it, now I have the tools in my toolbox to maintain it. To maintain it.
Mhm. And would you like to share what some of those tools are to maintain them?
Some of the tools for me, main thing is taking a self inventory. I
Mhm.
like to be aware of how I am feeling, and not necessarily how I'm feeling, but why am I feeling that way? Normally, it's the simplest things I enjoy now, that coming from a chaotic world,
Mhm.
I would think I would never be able to experience it. Just waking up, for one, and having the sun glisten through the window, and I'm not worried about a phone. I'm not worried about I'm late for work, or just being able to sit there if I want, get up and work if I want. But I like taking those first few moments to just reflect and just say thank you. Just
Hmm.
say thank you. Because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, some mornings I will get up and grab the phone, and before you know it, I see 9 p.m. before I even blink. But being aware, if I'm aware that I'm moving too fast and I need to take a moment to slow down, pause, and say thank you, that changes my entire day. That changes my entire moment. Also, my affirmations, right? I write them on my mirror. So if I do
Mhm.
forget, you always gonna look in the mirror. I don't know about y'all. I look in the mirror every day.
Yes.
So you always are going to look in the mirror. So sometimes those small reminders make big impact, because my day runs like this: bam, 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 bam. But just putting those little mementos in front of me help. I have the phone app I use is motivation. Like it'll send me a message every 4 hours or something like that. These little things are able to change my mood, because when you're
Mhm.
dealing with businesses and life, anything can really kind of take you off your square. And I know that about me. I know I get distracted really easy, but these are my things that kind of wheel it back in. This is what I do. Then at night before I go back to bed, I'll kind of take like a little peek inside my tomorrow. So what I'm doing is kind of calling it to how I want it to happen. I don't want tomorrow to happen and it's telling me or dictating to me what to do. It's like, I know what I want to do tomorrow. I have an idea. Anything can happen. And his idea may be different, but at least I got an idea. So it's kind of like me claiming my day.
Mhm.
And when that happens, I'm at peace. And one of the biggest things is just making my bed. When I make my bed, I'm gonna have an amazing day.
That's really good. First, I have two questions. Well, first, I wanted to say yes. Making your bed and just making your space clean, honoring your sacred space,
Yes.
does so much for your mental. Second, you said there's an app that sends you positive messages.
Yeah. The one I use right now is it's called Motivation, the Motivation app.
The motivation app. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And is it something you have to invest in or pay for, or is it a free app?
Well, it's free, but I have you can get to the premium. They have like a premium, small premium, but they do have a free option where it'll still send you. I think it's maybe only a certain amount. I can't remember, but the app itself is definitely free. That one helps me. And another free app I use is called Opal, OPAL. Now, Opal
Mhm.
blocks out my social media. Like, it'll just block it out for as long as I tell it to do so. If I'm having a focus hour where I'm focused on whatever I'm working on, I'll
Mhm.
open my Opal app, say, hey, shut these sites down for 2 hours, and that way I'm not distracted.
Okay, okay. That that's a good. I'm going to use that. There used to be an app I followed, but it was disabled. It was called like Self Care Babe or something like that. But I'm
Hmm.
going to do the motivation app as well. I can't write affirmations on the mirror. I can't do it, but I do speak to myself. I do speak to myself in the mirror as well to
Yeah,
give some positivity.
it helps. It definitely helps.
Yes, ma'am. Well, before we go, I just wanted to let you just kind of stand on your own podium for a moment. We have this segment called Something to Sip On, where you get to just tell the audience something that you would, some little tea, but it's productive and empowering tea, of course, about financial independence. But let me introduce our next segment, Something to Sip On.
Something to sip on. I would like for you guys to sip on one, knowing that you are important, knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you have the solution to what someone else struggle with. If you are in the space of entrepreneurship, or if you're in the space of turning your natural talents and your natural gifts into some form of income, that is one of the places that I want you to think of and understand that you can definitely thrive. So many of us think, oh, we haven't been in it long enough, or we're not skilled enough, or nobody's going to buy from us. And I just want y'all to stop thinking that way. Stop believing those
Mhm.
lies, because you have the solution that someone else needs.
Oof, I love that. You have the solution that someone else needs. Don't doubt yourself. And
Definitely.
I truly believe that. I just can't imagine you have these convictions and they're not supposed to go anywhere but stay inside of your head.
Absolutely.
Thank you
It doesn't
so.
work.
It doesn't. And I tell people that all the time, like, you are stuck on this for a reason. This is what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
Write it down, plan it out. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much, Precious, for being here, for giving us some great empowerment tools and telling us about your amazing business. If anyone is interested in following you or attending your academy, where can we find you?
You can find the Posh Academy everywhere. Just Google the Posh Academy. We are on every social media platform. We have so many different. It's like I said, we meet someone no matter where they are. So even if you never heard of a drape, we start by giving away a free guide to kind of get you started, helping you understand things that you need to get started. And we also do free masterclasses every Monday on specifically pricing and marketing in the draping industry. And then, not to mention, guys, we have a tour. We go on tour every quarter. We are embarking on our quarter 2 tour. We're going to 6 different cities, taking our draping masterclass on the road. And you can always check and see that if there's a masterclass by you.
Thank you so much for that. You guys heard it here. You'll also see in our show notes where you can find her, all the places that you can find her. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to a verbal tea time again. You guys can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at verbal tea time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and tune in to the next tea party.